Houston this week, good football team, very multiple on offense. Last week they ended up playing 4 quarterbacks in the game, talented wide receivers with speed, good hard running backs, defensively, aggressive, get after you, run to the ball very, very well. So again, we got another challenge in front of us to take care of, and what we've got to continue to do is just work to continue to get better at all the little things, and have a little bit more, paying a little bit more attention to detail, and play with confidence. And the way you do that is by going out and practicing hard each day, and working to get better. So that's what we'll continue to do.
Is it any different scouting the team? Obviously, they've had a very difficult schedule. I mean, like almost rating as top 25 teams with very good other teams. Does it change your scouting, or when you're looking at film, just to, based on the opponents they play?
No, I mean, really, the way you look at it, you go back and take a look really at the last 2 games of what they did with the quarterback change that they had. So you look at those 2 games because you're going to be facing a quarterback from those 2 games, and then always defensively you go and take a look at what teams are similar to you offensively to see how they're going to play, and then you'll still take a look at a couple things. But they've been pretty consistent with what they do defensively with everybody that they've played so far. So no, that doesn't really change anything. One thing is they're a team that they've been able to get up on people early and outscore teams in the first half. So that's one thing that I talked to our team about today is, again, let them get off to a good start. We got to, again, we got to take the fight to them, but you got to do it consistently. We get off the field in the first drive, but then we got to keep doing it. And that's the one thing we've had trouble with is, consistency on both sides of the ball.
Mason Donaldson, so your kickoff guy?
Yeah.
Did he give you what you wanted? I mean, he had wind at his back, but he gave you some long kickoffs.
Now, well, yes, he did. I was just going to say, Wayne, you can answer that question. You put 2 back in, and there were touchbacks. I mean, yeah, he gave us everything we needed there, and it's interesting. I mean, I give Mason credit, give him credit because of he came to Eddie one day and said, hey, he says, I think I can kick off, and he was out there kicking, and so we let him do that, and then I saw him out there from my office one day. He was working on things, and Eddie and I talked, and I said, yeah, give him a shot in practice. So he goes in and kicks the first one into the end zone, and then the second one didn't kick so good, and he came up limping, which seemed like it's a daily occurrence with some of our kickers. We've been around it, but and then he kicked another one in the end zone, and then had an issue and all that. So I figured out he was done, and then at the end of the week he said he was better. So we saw him and said, well, hey, give him the opportunity. And he went out there and performed, and that's what you really want. If guys think they can do something, or if we think they can do something, you put them in those situations to see if they can, and if they earn that opportunity, that right for that opportunity, then you give them the opportunity. He earned it based on what he did, and then went out the game and performed. So you just got to see if he can be consistent.
What have you seen from Jason Medlock, and how did he kind of end up here? What was his story?
He was a young man from down in Texas that we saw for recruiting, and we just saw a kid that was a football player and fit what we were looking for, really in the H-back category, and recruited him, and we got him here. Liked everything about him. Good family, good kid. He understands football. Was impressed with what he did. He played 44 snaps, I believe it was, last week, and did a good job. Caught the ball well, and again, you know, he's 218 pounds. And ideally, we wanted to redshirt him. And, but you have injuries, and then the way he played, you sit there and just say, God, we got to keep playing. And it would make him better. And, you know, now he'll just have to continue to get bigger and stronger. But he's got good hands, made some really nice catches, made some, you know, catches after, runs after the catch the other day. And, you know, he's developing as a blocker. And, but the one thing is, he's eager and he's aggressive, and will go in there and fight and put his face in there. But, you know, we're not going to put him on there on the ball tight end really, and try to make him move the defensive end. Because, you know, that's a mismatch when you're 218 pounds going against, if you have to go against some of those guys. But just really impressed with his maturity and how he's handled things, and like I said, just loves to play.
Randy, going back to kickers for a minute, can you talk about Luke's season so far?
Yeah, I think that Luke has gotten better from last year to this year. I think now, you know, I think one of the things that Luke has to do is he puts a lot of pressure on himself from the standpoint that, you know, he expects, which is good, that he expects every ball to be a 50-yarder with no return. And sometimes I think that he puts himself in a situation where he'll try to overkick instead of just staying smooth, because he's got a good enough leg. He just got to stay smooth and not overkick it. But I think the last few games he's been doing more of that. And again, I think there's times when he is maybe into the wind. Sometimes he tries to do some things, so we just got to get him to continue to just settle down, take his nice natural form, and then when he does that, you know, I think he's pretty good. But the thing about Luke is, you know, he's a perfectionist, he's a worker, he's always going to do things to try to get better, and that's what you want. So I've been happy with what, you know, he's done this year, and all he's just got to do is just continue to work on, you know, everything with his game. I mean, he's able to directional it. He's able to, you know, be able to kick the ball the way we want in terms of trying to put people back inside the 20-yard line. So yeah, I mean, he's doing well, and you know, love having him around, because he's a good leader, and he's, you know, one of the things that, you know, he appreciates things that happen here because of where he was before. You know, in terms of over in Australia, as a plumber. And so the good thing is he tells some of these guys, you know, you ought to be thankful for what you got. You go out and work for a living and do what I did and tell me about it. So, you know, he's got a toughness and an edge to him.
And this will probably jinx it, but can you talk about the guy who snaps the ball to him, Brian Keating, and his consistency?
Yeah, I mean, Brian, that's one of those positions, the only time they get noticed if there's a bad snap. And, you know, really, he hasn't been noticed here, I don't know, I think ever since he's started snapping here. And he's been very, very consistent on punts and on extra points and field goals. And that is a position that is understated, because if you don't have a guy that can be consistent, it makes it very difficult on your specialist. And you know, the one thing about him, again, he's another guy who just loves UConn, grew up on UConn football, earned a scholarship. He's involved with some things on campus in terms of some leadership things and some groups. So he's come a long way. You know, he's come a long way. He was a young man and almost left here, and you know, he had to go home and take some time and then get things figured out. Came back, and man, he's, you know, talk about a leader and talk about a guy that's enthusiastic, but also very good at what he does. You know, he's perfected that craft, and like I said, just need more guys like him.
During stretching this morning, you had the Houston Fight song going, which is different from the usual playlist. Why did you choose to switch that up?
I just, we felt that we had Tulane last week, so we're going to play their fight songs. We got to start to develop an attitude of, when you play these teams, you don't like them, instead of all this, other music. We're gonna go play a game, and I want to make sure we have the right mindset as we go. That hey, we're gonna play a game. You gotta learn to get our. We just gotta make sure we gotta hate them. I gotta choose my words wisely. In our politically correct world that we live in, Twitter world, and all of this stuff. So, and since this is all Facebook Live,
Randy, it'll be 10-year anniversary since the passing of Jasper this weekend, Friday the 18th. Can you just talk a little bit about his legacy and still how much he means to this program today?
Well, that's something that just never goes away for the people that were here, or the people that were part of the program, or probably some of you guys that covered us then and everything else. And you just look back on it and how senseless it really was that a young man's life was taken here on campus, and in the prime of his life basically. And like I said, it's always something that's going to stick with you, and that's why we bring Denisha and Jemiah back. So each year I've had since I've been here to just make them feel good, and Denisha now did publish that book and everything that's going to come out. I think now the 10th anniversary of his death, but. Again, the kids that were part of that team, I mean, it's all something that's I think still difficult for them. And, but, the only thing that you can do is just always remember him, and, in those days, but every day, and understand what, he meant. And, because when you think about him, all it does, it just brings you a smile to your face because of the way that he went about his business and how he conducted himself.
Jackson Mitchell got a chance to play a little bit more last week. How's he Mitchell?
Oh, yeah.
How's he kind of developed, and what can he kind of contribute going forward this year?
Well, he's got to start this week, I've been impressed with him since he got here, and he's kind of worked himself into a position where you could just see a guy getting better, and he was on special teams. And then when he went in there and played, I thought he did a good job. Is he ready to play? Yeah. Is he going to make some mistakes? Yes. But he gives you everything that he has, each and every play, and it's important to him. Likes to play. And if he makes a mistake, it's not going to be because of a lack of effort or a lack of trying. And I just think if he stays healthy, I think he's got a chance to be a real good player. And like I said, he's got good football instincts, and that's important. Because if you don't have instincts and you don't understand the game, boy, it's hard to teach guys that sometimes.
When you say instincts, what are you specifically talking about in that case?
Well, it's just that he understands if there's a formation where he recognizes a guard pull, just different things, just what happens. He just has good football instincts, in terms of what goes on with football, as opposed to video games, and those things. He can recognize things, he can anticipate good things, and sees it and goes. He doesn't hesitate. That's the whole thing. It's just there's guys that just see one thing and they know it's coming, and they know that based on what somebody does or stance, they can figure that out, and they see it, and they just have good instincts in terms of reacting to what they see.
against Dana before, as a head coach or a coordinator? Maybe?
Yeah, when I was at Maryland, we played West Virginia. You know,
Any similarities in terms
I
of?
might bring him Red Bull. You know, likes Red Bull. Unless it's changed, so. But no, he does a good job. I mean, he's not going to change his offense, you know, based on, I mean, he knows who he is and what he wants to do. You know, they got, like I said, they got some speed and athletes down there. So I mean, for us, we got to make sure, you know, we're in the right positions to take care of the responsibilities that we have. If not, you know, we could get ourselves in trouble with some big plays.
Randy, how important is it to get the running game going on Saturday?
Well, got to block them. Just got to come off the ball. You know, guys got to come off the ball and got to use good fundamentals and techniques. And the back's got to, you know, see the right hole and do those things. And if you do that, you give yourself an opportunity to run. I mean, it's not hard. You know, in the running game, it all starts up front, and those guys got to come off the ball and get some push. And between the linemen, tight ends, doing the things that they have to do, and then the backs doing it. But it all starts up front. You got to get some push, and you got to get on, cover people up, and you know, get pushed, get off the linebacker, so you don't leave an unblocked guy. When you leave an unblocked guy, I mean, a guy that you're supposed to block, you don't get off and allow him to step up and fill it. You know, you got to take care of those assignments. That's been the biggest thing. We just haven't been consistent. You know, up front, we haven't, you know, come off the ball with the physicality that you need going against some of the people that we've had to go against.
But Randy, how much of that is that the guys on the other side of the ball might be stronger and better?
We're running into that versus some people. You know, the matchups aren't conducive to certain things, and we try to stay away from doing certain things if we don't feel we have the right matchup. But again, it's the same story. I said they get paid too. Well, not in college. Hopefully they will here shortly. But you know, the thing that we got to do is we just got to take care of that. But then again, like I said, there's some time. You know, like last week we had a situation where we had you know, Cam Ross out there blocking might have been a strong safety or whatever. Cam weighs 170 pounds. You know, and that guy weighs 190, 200 pounds. You know, that's a physical mismatch. You know, unless you're going to go out and cut him, and there's certain rules that you have there. But you know, that's why we always got to be conscious as coaches. That's why I always talk to the staff about it's a personnel game, and you got to do what your personnel can do best. You know, try to put them in positions where they can be successful. Don't put them into a position because of the mismatch they don't have a chance for success. And sometimes that's hard, and you can limit yourself because of some of the teams that you have to go against and some of the matchups that you have that, you know, there's only certain things that you can do. And then what you have to do is you got to be able to execute at a very high level to take advantage of those opportunities that you're going to have. And then when you get those opportunities, say for big plays, then you got to connect on. You know, case in point, you know, if you watched the Lions-Packers game last night, you know, one of the things that happened there, in my opinion, you know, Detroit made a lot of big plays in the game. They get down inside the red zone, they couldn't score touchdowns. Because a lot of it was because they couldn't run the ball. They couldn't knock people off the ball. Green Bay, conversely, was knocking Detroit off the ball and getting some things in the running game. You know, and for us, you know, we got to have to be able to run the ball. Because if we can run the ball, then that sets up for us the things we want to do in the passing game. Play action, you know, those type of things.
So you talked about instincts. Can instincts make up for some of that lack of physical mismatch?
To a certain extent, you know. And then if you understand, you know, the guy you're going against, there's certain things you can do to him to aid you in being able to play better. But, you know, sometimes instincts aren't going to, you know, if you're a 220-pound guy going against a 280-pound guy, he's pretty good. You know, it's just a physical mismatch that you're not going to be hard to be overcome unless then what you do is you do some things where you run the option, you become a triple option team, like Army and Navy and Air Force, in terms of what they do to take advantage, because they have guys that can't match up as much, so that's where you see some of those teams run the style of offense that they run.
Any other questions?
All right. See you, Facebook friends.